Ladies and gentlemen, hello. Today I'm going to be showing you everything that you need to know to get into the private label space. Everything that you need to know to get started. Now you see, most Amazon sellers think that private label is just simply another strategy, and it's really not. Private label is a business model shift, and if you approach it like you do arbitrage or wholesale or anything like this, you're pretty much guaranteed to lose money. And that's why so many Amazon sellers, right, they try private label just this one time and they get burnt, they get either scammed, they lose money, whatever, and they'll be like, oh, it's too risky or it's too saturated, just because of their bad experiences. Anytime somebody has a bad experience, right, they always do this, right? My name's Adam. I run 2 successful e-commerce businesses, collectively doing $3.3 million per year, and I've been doing this for 6 years almost now, about 5.5 years to be exact. And I started off by doing arbitrage and wholesale, and now I've been doing private label full time for 3.5 years. And I'm not here to really convince you that private label is easy. In this video, my goal is to show you like what established Amazon sellers need to understand before they start private label. I've created this presentation, pretty basic stuff, nothing fancy, but the information in here is going to be super useful for you to understand. So I'm here to show you exactly what established Amazon sellers need to understand before they start private label, if they actually want to scale. By the end of this video as well, you'll know whether private label is the right move for you. And why are you going to listen to me? I'm just a normal guy, right? But I have achieved some fantastic results over this past several years. I started by working in the bakery in Sainsbury's, packing bread, slicing bread for people, having £500 to my name, investing that only £500 into mentoring, and now look at me doing $3.3 million per year in just 5 and a bit years. I've been in the operator trap, I've been there, done that, and now I have my own private label business, several brands, I have a warehouse, 5 staff members, and in the month of December, we hit a record month of a profit of £55,000, which was absolutely insane. And right now I'm in Bali. I'm not sure whether you can see a pool there, but yeah, I'm staying in a villa in Bali because I basically have location freedom, time freedom, financial freedom. And I also help other people do the same. But without further ado, let's get into it. Why Amazon sellers hit a can't speak today. I've got a little tongue tie or something, whatever they call it. Why Amazon sellers hit a ceiling without private label. So let's start with the real problem. If you're doing like wholesale, arbitrage, whatever right now, like you can probably make money, quick money really. But at a certain point, most sellers doing that hit a ceiling. Margins get tighter. There's so much competition come on your listings. You're dealing with those constant price wars. Things are unreliable. Even suppliers are unreliable. They may have stock issues, which you can't order from them, which means you're not making any money. And then also if you scale your business, you're basically just scaling headache. You may scale your revenue by 2x, but your profit probably won't go up by 2x, or maybe go up by 1.5x, but you'll also scale a ton of headache. All of this doesn't mean like Amazon's broken or e-com's broken. It's just because this model doesn't give you enough control. There's, like I said, purpose for it, and it can make you money, and it can make you some serious money as well, and it can make it quick, but it doesn't give you that control that you need to live the life of your dreams, really. Because you don't control the product, you don't own the product, you don't control the listing, you don't own the listing, and also you don't control the pricing environment, because loads of people are competing for the same product, same price as you. So people are penny pinching, one penny below, so they can get more and more sales. It really frustrated me back in the day, honestly. So every time you try and scale, you're just scaling risk alongside revenue. But private label is how Amazon sellers move from operating inside of Amazon and solely relying on Amazon and other people to building something on top of it. But only if it's done correctly, because you can do private label and you can fuck up big time. So the biggest mistake, getting on to fucking up, the biggest mistake Amazon sellers make with private label, and it's a mistake that I see over and over again, and one that I've made as well, not gonna lie. But Amazon sellers treat private label like sourcing. They just look for product with demand and half decent margins, manageable competition, and they just think about slapping a logo on it and hoping Amazon does the rest. It may have been a little bit simpler like that back in the day, but it's not really that simple anymore. Not at all. This approach fails because private label is not about just only finding new products. It's about finding your position in the market, right? How can you own and take over a niche? If you don't really understand the difference, private label becomes really expensive for you because you're just competing with other people that look the exact same. Perhaps you're competing with other people that look the exact same, but they're actually from China. Because you have a lot of Chinese sellers doing private label, selling directly on Amazon. And if you're selling directly with them and your product looks the same as them, they'll just undercut you. And again, it'll be a wholesale mission again. You'll be competing with price, although it'll be on different listings, you'll still be competing on price because they'll be slashing the price on their listings and they'll be getting traffic that way. Now, how can you do this? I took an approach with one of my brands to actually absolutely nail the presentation in the market in terms of like images. In one of my niches, like people didn't really focus on images and like they just thought, oh, it's just that product. I can just stick in at one image on there. Like most competition had like 1 or 2 images on the listings. I just came in and had 9 really high quality images. I didn't really reinvent the wheel. Like I just presented myself better. And it was as simple as that, this is the most basic thing that you could ever do. So before you think about suppliers, branding or inventory, you need to just understand the framework as well. And I'm going to get onto the framework now. Here is the framework. So it's going to spend 5-10 minutes speaking about it. So step 1. Market and product selection. Private label starts with choosing markets that you can control and not just enter. Like I said, I stopped looking for profitable products and I started looking for gaps in the market, like weak listings, like I said, bad images, bad products with good ideas and latest trends and things like this. My criteria was actually quite simple. Like first, the top listings just needed to show gaps. So let's say if I looked and I seen the top 1 to 5 listings, there was clear gap. There was like clear, like the images were all crap. And the reviews there was common bad reviews across all of them. That's when I'd be like, oh, wow, this looks actually quite good. They've got bad reviews. They're not putting a lot of effort in and they're selling. Wow, this is crazy. So you'd be looking for that poor branding, unclear positioning, weak listing images, unresolved complaints in the reviews, all these types of things. And if listings are strong, like let's say if you go onto a niche and it's like thousands, tens of thousands of reviews, the products are selling tens of thousands a month as well, you're late, right? Unless obviously you don't want to just enter a super competitive market, but unless you do the TikTok shop route, which can be for a completely different video because I could spend 20-30 minutes on that as well. Basically, if I just sum it up in a sentence or two, you can enter an extremely competitive market if you're smart on TikTok shop. If you blow something up on TikTok shop, which perhaps haven't blown up on TikTok shop at the moment, you can then be that number 1, number 2, number 3 spot on Amazon in an extremely competitive niche. Nutrition Geeks did it. If you know who Nutrition Geeks are, for example, they absolutely exploded on TikTok. They weren't the biggest supplement company on Amazon, but now they probably are. Check them out. Just type in Nutrition Geeks magnesium, and you'll know what I'm on about. Second, the product must have functional differentiation or visual, or both. So, for example, it needs to operationally work in a different way, or can it be in a jar rather than a plastic packaging, or visual? Can you have pink packaging over black packaging? You just need some real clear improvements that actually matter to the customer as well, or even, like I said, just nicer packaging. Nicer packaging alone could just get the click over the other competition. And if you're combining with nicer packaging with actually having a better product, you're going to be laughing there, aren't you? Third, the economics must support reinvestment as well, okay? This is really, really important. This is, if the product can't handle ads, if it can't handle returns, and if it can't handle scaling costs with margin left over, it's not really a business, it's just a gamble. This is something I learned not so long ago, actually. Not so long ago at all. I was looking for products with maybe 25-30% margin, which is great, and they were making me money, they still do. However, why do that when in private label you can actually search for things with 50, 60, 70% margin? Why? A friend of mine just sort of pointed that out to me. He's like, why don't you just do that? I was like, you make a good point, to be fair. Okay, this step alone eliminates most bad private label ideas before money is wasted. So let's get on to the next one. Step number 2, differentiation. That actually protects you. Most sellers hear the word differentiate and they think branding. Now, it's kind of backwards, right? Because differentiation starts with function and clarity. What problem you're going to need to ask yourself these questions. What problem does your product solve better than the alternatives? You need to really know this when you are trying to launch a product, because if you don't know it, then you're cooked. Why someone should choose your version instead of the cheapest one? Do you have a clear brand story? Is it better quality? All these things you need to be thinking about. And what objections do reviews reveal that you can fix? And also not only that you can fix, but actually call out in your title, in your images, and maybe even in your packaging. Real differentiation improves conversion significantly, and conversion is what protects margin. If your product converts better, you don't need to win on price. And another huge way that you can differentiate, huge way, which is going to protect you massively and help you build a multi-million-dollar brand, is building a community or a cult-like following. If you look at brands like Newtonic, if you've heard of Newtonic, for example, or there's a company called British Supplements, they both have clear cult-like followings, a clear story, a clear mission, and a clear differentiation between everything. So Newtonic is completely different to an energy drink. They have a good story with the brand owners, Chris Williamson and James Smith. British Supplements are literally fighting big pharma and trying to provide clean, healthy, strong supplements. Real supplements are not just shitty, cheap ones. And this makes people resonate with the brand. You're really talking to your ideal customer at this point, and it makes people buy whatever that you bring out, and it gives them a high LTV. This is how private label sellers avoid price wars and also help build a much larger sustainable brand. Step number 3, you're going to be launching for data, and you're not going to be listening to your ego. This is why most sellers just blow their budget. They launch hoping for rank instead of just validating economics, right? A real launch is just about data. Just about data. You need to take your emotions out of it. You're watching the things like the conversion rate, the ACoS, which is advertising cost of sale if you didn't know, session behavior, customer feedback. You're analyzing all of this. And you're not trying to scale the ads aggressively just yet, right? Not right now. There's time and a place for it. You're just trying to confirm that the product, the listing, the pricing all converts well and all works well together. And then when it all stacks up and the ads start performing okay on a low budget, you start to scale hard. Private label rewards patience early, punishes optimism. Not all the time punishes optimism. If you've got a ton of money and a fantastic opportunity, you can be a little bit optimistic, but you can blow your budget extremely fast. Step number 4 of the framework is protection and control. Once a product works, protection really does matter, and this is where private label separates itself from wholesale and arbitrage. You control the listing, you control the content, you control how the brand is positioned, you control getting hold of customer data. If you want to go down the route of creating your own website, you can collect people's email, you can give them discounts, 10% off for their email and things like this. You can launch on TikTok Shop. You can control potentially how the affiliates promote your products and stuff. So there's a lot of control that you can have. You're still on Amazon, right, as well, but you no longer have like one-man bands from the bedroom jumping on your listing, which is extremely frustrating. I know, I get it. I used to have it all the time. This control is what allows consistency, and the consistency allows the reinvestment, which allows you to scale, which is where it becomes super important, because sometimes, like with arbitrage or wholesale, you may have multiple people coming on your listing and bad things happening, your margin getting decreased, which means you can't really reinvest that next month, which is a bit of a shame. Now, step number 5, which is the final one, I think, is scaling through reinvestment, not more products. Now, you as an arbitrage seller, wholesale seller, or even a TikTok Shop affiliate, whoever you may be, most of you think that scaling just means launching new products. And with private label, it doesn't really mean just launching more products. It's usually wrong. Scale actually comes from expanding on what already works. Why don't you create variations, a bundle of 2, a bundle of 3, a bundle of 5, a bundle of 10? Why don't you create a very similar product? Let's say if you've created ashwagandha supplement, why don't you create a Tonga Ali supplement and maybe combine them both, something very, very similar, which has similar benefits, and maybe even combine them into one thing. Supply chain improvements. Can you own the factory? Can you buy the factory out when you've made so much money? Like us at the moment, we're thinking about buying a factory out in Europe. Not buying a full factory, but like investing and gaining a share of our factory. which is awesome. It's going to bring your cost of goods down significantly, and manufacturing is where you want to be. You need to be thinking about all these things. Like, you can operate in the same niche with the same product, but you can scale it massively. You can go into TikTok, Shopify, and stuff like that. And when you've obviously exhausted that, right, of course you can go ahead and look for new products, 100%. But like, just know that you're not just gonna just launch new product after new product after new product. Launch and focus on what's working and scale that as much as you possibly can. If you feel like a product's doing really well and there's not really much room for growth, you can source more. But unlike wholesale, you're sourcing one product. With private label, you're sourcing one product that's going to make you like 1 to 10k per month, or maybe even more than 10k per month consistently. And with wholesale, you're looking for multiple products, right, that are making you 50 to £1,000 a month, and they won't be making you that much money in 2 to 3 months' time. Not a chance. This is how sellers reach meaningful revenue without turning the business into chaos. You want some case studies? Because it's not theory. Take me, for example. 5.5 years ago, I started the business. I was doing wholesale buying and reselling, and I had the exact same problems all the time. Price wars, competition all of the time, constant headache. I scaled, it got me out my 9 to 5, but like it didn't, my business was worth nothing basically. If I wanted to take 4 weeks off the business and do nothing at all, maybe a Slack message or two, the business would decline 100%. Right now, because I pivoted 3.5 years ago, now we're 85-90% private label. I don't have to really do anything. If I wanted to take 4 weeks off the business now, I'd be able to send a few Slack messages and the business would run. It would run perfectly, no problem, no repricing, no nothing. But it's not just me. It's happened with students. I've got a student called Hassan, which absolutely smashed it, add £2,000 a month to his business through transforming his business from wholesale and arbitrage into actually owning stuff. I've got a client, Matthew, who I helped on scaling his business actually from 0 all the way to 10k revenue months, and he actually got out of his 9 to 5 from doing that. Private label works, man. It works so well when sellers stop treating Amazon like a side hustle all of the time, and they start treating it like an actual business. You know why? Because it is. So if you want the exact systems, the exact strategies that I've used to build 2, not just 1, 2 e-commerce businesses using private label and scale them sustainably, then check out the link below in the description. We've got our full program which breaks down absolutely everything, the exact process step by step. If you want to work at your own pace, you can do that. If you want to work directly with me one-to-one, you can do that. All of this will be done over a conversation with myself, but just check the link down below to find out a little bit more of information about that, to see if we're a good fit to work together. And you can go ahead and apply. But that's it for now. If you enjoyed the video, happy days. Click the subscribe button down below, hit the like button. It's been a pleasure having you, and I will see you in the next video.